This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
One of the other ones is called Mate to Manager, and that came about from particularly our outdoor staff who one day are friends with and working side by side at the kids' football match together, and then tomorrow they're a leading hand or a supervisor having to deal with some of the challenges that comes with that. What that was really giving them the skills to confidently step into those roles and be able to deal with, you were my friend yesterday and I still want to be your friend, but now I'm your leader. And we thought we were just going to run that once, and it's so popular that we run 1 to 2 cohorts a year.
Welcome to the Manage Self, Lead Others Leadership podcast with Nina Sunday for experienced and aspiring people managers. This show will help you explore ways to become a more intentional leader. Each episode, host Nina Sunday speaks with some of the brightest business minds on the planet who share a passion to elevate and transform team culture. Workplace culture hides in plain sight. Is yours flourishing? Join the movement to make your workplace a better place to work. Are you ready? Because it's time to manage self, lead others.
My guest today was listed in Human Resources Director magazine's Best in HR list, where each year the magazine identifies individuals who led new initiatives in the HR space and advanced the standing of HR within their organisation. Amanda Daly is Head of People, Culture and Organisational Performance at Redland City Council, a local government organisation with over 1,000 employees, serving a community of over 150,000 people, situated on the coast of the state of Queensland, Australia, about 35 kilometres south of Brisbane, the state capital. And as a side note, it's where I live, Brisbane is named as the site of the 2032 Summer Olympics. With a Bachelor of Commerce, Amanda Daly not only holds a yellow belt in Lean Six Sigma, but also is an accredited IECL coach, accredited in DISC assessment and Myers-Briggs type indicator, Human Synergistics LSI and Change Style indicator. With a career in council spanning over 20 years, Amanda previously managed the award-winning contact centre at Redland City Council. Welcome, Amanda Daly.
Thank you very much for having me, Nina.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And how excited were you to find out that you were listed as Best in HR by Human Resources Director magazine? That would have been pretty exciting with you and the team.
It was. I was very excited. I think even more so that some of my managers that report through to me actually nominated me. So I didn't know about the nomination until I had become the finalist, which was lovely.
Oh, that is such a compliment, and it must make you feel very proud. So,
it was really nice. And
it would have been well deserved. And winning awards is definitely part of your shtick, definitely in your history, because I believe the team recently won a Local Government Managers Association award for excellence in teamwork. So tell us about that.
We did. So going back 3 years ago, the corporate strategy and business transformation team weren't part of my portfolio. And just as part of the executive leadership team discussions, we were struggling through COVID. It was starting to have an impact. Our prices were rising, but our revenue wasn't. And I put a proposal through to the CEO for my people and culture team to assist the other team in doing some light touch service reviews, because, we're out and about in the organisation a lot, and you hear that people have the ideas on how to save money and be more efficient, but it doesn't necessarily go up the chain. So the pitch to the CEO was to run these in a really short space of time to make as big an impact as we could with the problem we were trying to solve. And I worked with that team and actually facilitated a lot of those workshops. During that time, the team then actually came over into my remit, and it meant I got to see the the whole story go from concept through to savings. So we identified about 10 million plus in savings, and we've actually reached that, not necessarily banked the savings back, but either cost avoidance or redirected some of the funds or into other initiatives, or we've actually redirected to other costs that council had. So the team were amazing, but it really was the people on the ground that had these wonderful ideas that we just worked through a process. So 600 plus ideas, and we took 80 and, ran with those, things like fleet optimization. We funded drone trials for mosquito management, all sorts of weird and wonderful things, but it's been a really great process.
So this was going out to all the employees and asking them what are their ideas to improve, save money, do more with less, that sort of thing. And that's a really excellent idea. And what strikes me too, Amanda, is you gave it an interesting title, Light Touch Service Review, rather than Service Review, which is quite boring.
Yes. And
Light Touch. And what did that suggest?
So it really was, it's going to be 80% of what a service review would be. We're not going to get stuck on the theory of it and have it perfect. We're very quickly and swiftly going to work through the organisation. We're going to use a simple tool. We were looking for simple things. Is there a better provider of our steel cap boots, or a more efficient process, or a credit card process for, going to Bunnings as opposed to using invoicing?
And I like how you name things, like you've got the My Say employee engagement survey. Can you tell us about that? Because it's My Say.
Yeah. But we want people just to have their say. So we're in the top quartile for public service benchmarking, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Of course, COVID's been hard, and I think we'll all struggle a little bit when we do that post-COVID survey. But it really goes down to team level. So when we first did these surveys, probably 6-7 years ago, we would have one or two things that the whole organisation needed to work on. As we've matured, we've seen we actually don't have a consistent theme. We have specific teams that need different things, and my team then go in and tailor, what is it about, the issues in this team that specifically need attention, and what can we do? So a bit more bespoke and a bit more ownership for the managers and leaders as well. But it's been a really good tool for us to hear from everyone. 1,100 people is a lot of people to get feedback from. And I think we had a 90% response rate.
And there's another program that you've given a name. You've called it EVP for short, Employee Value Proposition. What makes it unique?
Oh, look, it was one of the projects that I have just loved being a part of. We partnered with Employer Branding Australia to do our employee value proposition. We went out across the organisation and asked them what was so great about working for Redland City Council. And we also decided that we would call, the elephant in the room, which, local government is a big beast. And, there are some things that, we can't do that private enterprise can do. So it was really about engaging the people, understanding what they loved about Redlands, telling their stories, having them on video, having them, have stories on our intranet. And it was amazing to watch why people loved our organisation. And that's where that special place term came from. Lots of people used it. I would say I've obviously done this before, but and we use the same company for our values. This is the first time I've really felt like it's the employee voice.
Isn't that wonderful? That's great. Now, it's interesting that you instigated a refresh of the values in 2020. And I mean, you've been with this organisation for around 20 years. So you knew what the old values were.
Yeah.
Why did you feel that there was a need for a refresh?
Look, I think the previous values were right for the time, but we were embarking on a bit of a cultural journey, and we really wanted the voice of the employee to be at the forefront of what we did with the customer, with our community, with our internal people. And they just started to not resonate as much, as we were changing as an organisation, as new people were coming in, our CEO is very supportive of our people, which obviously is a big win for a people and culture leader. And he was very much a sponsor and behind that EVP and the values.
Yes.
And again, was very happy for our employees to actually craft those values. And there was a bit of back and forth. You know, we're obviously trying to make it snappy and for people to remember it. But at the heart of it, you know, that's what our employees came up with, which was fantastic.
Oh, yes. See, this is it. You got people to co-create the values themselves.
Yep.
So they had skin in the game.
They did.
And therefore they then wanted to take it on board. And it's things like one team, which is you won the prize for excellence in teamwork. So that's definitely coming through. And of course, listen and be heard. I mean, that's so important. Any manager leading a team has to go to their team with questions, not just with the answers, and listen to what people are telling them.
Absolutely.
And you've got some little dot points around EVP, which is, achieve for the community and your career. So it's about giving people a sense of meaning that what they do matters.
Yes. And for us, it was, you know, not just what council can do for you, but what you can do for yourself with the opportunities that are here. So, you know, some people don't want a career. They're quite happy to be in a specific role. Others do. And we really wanted to show people, you know, our uniqueness is that you actually do see on the ground the work we do for the community, which is fabulous. You know, at a local government level, you're the closest to the customer. And we really wanted people to, you know, that's what they were connecting with when we were doing the EVP. So when we looked at, you know, all the specific stories, it was really important that people could see, they could connect with the customer if that was their driver, but also, I mean, so many different jobs. I mean, I've had different careers in this one organisation. You know, we manage animal shelters, water treatment plants. We have customer service, you know, libraries, performing arts centres. We do so many different things. So there is a lot of opportunity if you are interested in it. And it's what we can do for you and what you can do for yourself was the real balance there.
Yes. One of the things in EVP is to experience variety and grow as a result. And what you've just pointed out is that people aren't expected to stay in their lane. If they want to grow and maybe do, I don't know, is job rotation a bit too strong a description?
No, we do a lot of it here, secondments and higher duties. It's a real opportunity. And, you know, particularly in the environment we're all in at the moment where we've got these vacancies, you know, people who may not have thought to put their hand up or had, you know, didn't have all of the skills for the roles are getting more and more opportunities to try, you know, different things. And it's actually how I ended up in people and culture. I was actually the customer service manager and I was interested in doing something different. And I came over here for some project work and never left, ended up being the people over a period of time, the people and culture leader. I obviously was studying at uni at the time, but it was that secondment opportunity that really pivoted my whole career.
Well, both the secondment and also I see you haven't been sitting still. You obviously reflect lifelong learning with, you know, taking on board, you know, accreditations in DISC and Myers-Briggs and certainly the coaching qualification, because the IECL, what's that, Institute for Executive Coaching and Leadership, that's a high caliber coaching qualification. You have to put in a lot of hours to get that one.
Yes, a lot of testing. Yeah.
And how many of your managers actually see that their role is sometimes as a coach?
Yeah, well, we actually have a coaching bench here. And when we did the IECL, it was for some of our team to become accredited and be coaches, but also we invited leaders in the organisation to be part of our coaching bench and we would pay for their accreditation. So it's been fabulous. And we have a mentoring program, but also the formal coaching program. And it was really good that it wasn't just people and culture. It was actually people across the organisation that were admired for their leadership or their technical abilities that were now part of this coaching bench and fully accredited. And part of that, Nina, I think for local government is we don't have the biggest of of budgets for, things like learning and development, but we know they're so important. So
Yes.
a lot of these things we get accredited in ourselves and roll them out across the organisation with some help externally, particularly for the higher levels. But the coaching mindset really changed our organisation many years ago when we implemented some of that, where we were really reinvesting back into up-and-coming, leaders and professionals in our business, which was just an added bonus for them that they got that opportunity here.
Yes. And once again, you've got a name for the Strong Teams program.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Strong Teams program.
Yeah, look, that is facilitated by someone in my team who's an org psych, Kerry. One of the other ones is called Mate to Manager. And that came about from particularly our outdoor staff who one day are friends with and working side by side at the kids' football match together. And then tomorrow they're a leading hand or a supervisor having to, deal with some of the challenges that comes with that. What that was really giving them the skills to confidently step into those roles and be able to deal with, you were my friend yesterday and I still want to be your friend, but now I'm your leader. And we thought we were just going to run that once, and it's so popular that we run 1 to 2 cohorts a year. We usually have our general manager of infrastructure operations sponsoring it, opening it, giving advice, where required. And we're actually seeing some of those, people that have been through the program start to get those higher duties opportunities because they've been skilled, which has been fabulous.
And you know what? It's the elephant in the room when it comes to leadership and people being promoted from being an individual contributor to being a new supervisor or team leader, is that sometimes holds people back. Yeah, but I won't be able to be mates with my mates.
Yes.
So
I don't want it.
You're addressing that whole issue, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. We actually, it was targeted more to our outdoor workforce, and then it really became quite popular. And last year we did one with all of our admin officers who were aspiring to move up. And I actually sponsored that one myself. And some of the stories of the conversations they were never going to have, but did have, or jumping in on a team meeting when they're not in the hierarchy of leadership, they're, the administration officer, but having that confidence to say, hey, I think we could deal with this matter differently. The stories were amazing. So it's been another successful program that I can't take the credit for. It's been my team that have created that and done a wonderful job.
Well, you've got the humility of the truly great, Amanda, by giving credit to others, but I'm no doubt you're responsible for inspiring it, no doubt.
Thank you.
Look, over the last decade, there's been a shift from human resources or HR manager to leader of people and culture, which does capture people's hearts and minds. So have you been responsible for that shift within your organisation, or is it more of just a trend in the HR world?
It definitely is a trend in the HR world where human resources really was that administrative personnel management of, payroll and recruitment and checklists and whatnot. But we obviously wanted to become a more contemporary, people and culture team. And I think the title really gives people that understanding and connection to, we are about the people. We are here to actually help our organisation serve our community, and what do they need, as opposed to we are here to do HR, type functions. And we've had a huge shift over time, particularly in that leadership development space. And that's something I'm really proud of. Again, a great team that, have worked on that over the years. And our current CEO, who's been here for 5 years, actually said that's what attracted him to Redland City Council, was the focus and commitment to leadership development. And I think that's been that shift from traditional. One of the things we did have to do, which you would have seen, Nina, is update our human resource information system as part of that. And I tell you what, if that's not a project that nearly tips you over the edge, I don't know what is. I've spoken to many a HR professional who have been involved in those projects, and they are quite difficult, but it was moving our system from a payroll and a checklist recruitment and learning system through to the contemporary offerings around onboarding, offboarding, using that rich data to, inform future programs, talent management that used to be on these big spreadsheets, so just became too difficult. So that was part of our modernisation and transition as well.
Big job,
Yes.
and obviously well executed. On the website, you talk about Redland being, or the Redland area being a Quandamooka country.
Yes.
So do you do anything to involve traditional owners?
Yeah, look, it's a really proud history that we have on Redland's coast. And my team personally actually engage with Kayak, the Quandamooka Corporation, on some of the training and development. So we put all of our employees through what we call the Quandamooka Day, which is going over to Stradbroke Island and meeting with Quandamooka people and really understanding the culture and the heritage. And we expanded that, I think, last year, and actually do a yarning circle with some of the elders as well to understand the stories that, things you don't necessarily learn at school. But it's been fabulous to see our employees go over to Stradbroke Island and immerse themselves in the culture. And I think there's a lot more to come in terms of, Redland's coast and our rich cultural heritage as we develop things like the Birkdale precinct, where our Olympic venue's going to be. There'll be a lot of Quandamooka information and learnings as part of that precinct. So very exciting. But my team, very, very much for a number of years have worked with our Quandamooka people.
Oh, that's really interesting to hear. And just for anyone outside of Australia, we've got a few Australianisms in there. When we talk about a story, we call it a yarn, telling a yarn. Amanda, tell us about the Wellbeing Through Adventure initiative.
Yeah, so this has been fabulous. So, the year before last, we did a big review of our, safety. We obviously have some very high risk activities that we undertake, but a lot of the psychosocial issues as well with the front-facing customers and the demand. So we really we did a refresh of what our offerings are. We did a Black Dog Institute survey tool to see where we sit in terms of the mental health and wellbeing space, and that really gave us the direction to say we need to be doing more on certain areas. So the Wellbeing Through Adventure was about having destinations over the year where people could opt in or opt out, because it's not for everyone. Every single, program that we run, the one size fits all doesn't work. So we had things like Darius Boyd come into our depot area and talk about mental health and how important it is to, actually talk about it. We did, mindfulness walks through our beautiful Indigiscape Centre. For those across, the world, there's koalas there, so it's a very relaxing, beautiful, place for a before work walk. We, had different testing in terms of, health testing, and nutritionists come in, and it really brought people together from different teams, as well as teaching them about their own mental health and wellbeing. So it's kind of a twofold benefit. But we had some great feedback, and now we've got to make it even better for this year.
Right. That's fantastic. I noticed that you're accredited in both DISC and Myers-Briggs, and both have their attractions, and I'm Brainpower Training has trainers who are accredited in both as well.
Yeah.
To what extent do you actually train the staff in either of those profiles? And to what extent does that then become part of the conversation, so that people understand when you give somebody a task, they'll execute it a little bit according to their preference? So any thoughts on that? Yeah,
so, we've had a number of people here accredited in Myers-Briggs and DISC. I find Myers-Briggs is really good for teams where it's not confrontational, it's your inborn preferences. It's not about your skill level. It's really, why am I the way I am, or respond to things the way that I respond. So it's not really right or wrong. So yes. Over the years, we've got a number of teams that, might need support for whatever reason, new members coming in or a bit of conflict. We would decide out of our suite of tools, which is the best one. So I've obviously personally facilitated some of those workshops, as others in my team have. But what we find really works, whatever tool you use, is the common language, as you touched on. So if you've got a team saying, oh, you're being very J today, can we be a bit more P? It just cuts the room and cuts that tension, which is fabulous. And the DISC, I do think, is a little bit more, more about your behaviour and how that comes out. So we generally use that for the higher levels. So we've had our executive and our senior leaders undertake DISC, and it's a common language between us. And it's also been really valuable for where are our gaps as an executive team. Do we have, the 4 quadrants covered or not? Or, I'm a D and sometimes feel a little bit out on my own sometimes. And then others in teams where, they're the minority, it really helps the rest of the team to say, hey, let's consider what the S's think or the C's think. I'm talking DISC language, but yes. It's been really useful. And, we bring these things in and out as we need them, but we have a few things that are a common language in our organisation.
If anybody's listening to this, we've got a whole episode on DISC. I'll put the number of it in the show notes so you can read up about it, because I'm a great believer in it's not about labelling people. It's just understanding, look, we've gone in and we've done a DISC profile for an entire team and found that there was it was overbearingly in one direction, and so another style was completely absent, and that's lack of diversity, and that's not a good thing. So absolutely, it's good to have diversity. Look, we're coming to the end of our time, Amanda, so it's just so exciting to get a snapshot of what attracts a Best in HR award. So congratulations. Thank you. It sounds like I'm hearing that you're going way beyond the fact that you're a high div, which is direct, which is about results, because you're also got a very strong people, interpersonal expression and taking on board the fact that people matter, that you care for people and that you listen. So just you wouldn't have collaboration if you didn't have all those other elements in place. Amanda, our time is coming to a close. It's been very generous of you to go in depth and tell us a little bit about all the initiatives that you've brought into Redland City Council. Thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you, Nina. It's been wonderful, and always happy to be involved in making, the people and culture field, the best it can be, and work with wonderful people such as yourself. So thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. And that is definitely one of the threads. Your whole push is to help people be the best they can be. So congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you, Nina.
This episode, we've been speaking with Amanda Daly on the Manage Self Lead Others podcast for people managers. I'm your host, Nina Sunday. And if you like this podcast, where it's possible, give it a rating and a review. And remember to subscribe. You can subscribe to the video version on the LinkedIn channel so you catch the next episode. And we have conversations with people who share insights on how to elevate and transform team culture. I hope this inspires you to do the same. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Tell me you like the show. And thank you for listening. Until next time, bye for now.
Nina Sunday is on a mission to help leaders transform culture. To book Nina Sunday CSP to speak at your conference, visit ninasunday.com to request a proposal. Nina travels from Brisbane, Australia for in-person presentations Australia-wide. Twice certified virtual presenter, Nina Sunday presents virtually, globally, for any time zone.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.